If locations overlap, she's a superstar. The villagers believed it, applied for a search warrant, seeking a real person. The villagers rushed to Yinhao's house, seeking the mythical shotgun, but ransacked the yard and treasure spots. Yet not a finger was found. Tech support called, joke-like, saying Yinhao and the detectives' phones were apart last night. The villagers were left speechless, thinking this hat might really fly off their heads soon. At that moment, she spotted two names, Yinru and Yinhao. Isn't Yinhao surnamed Kim? Trying to challenge the surname realm? The villagers were fretting over their positions. The lone Cheng-Jun has started his detective career, finding Yinhao's tree learning temple. But the monks here hadn't a clue who Yinhao was, nor remembered any kids learning here. Looks like this monk is a total fraud. Never heard of this monk, having just taken over the temple from his grandmother, realized the person he sought might be his great ancestor. So, Cheng-Jun yanked the monk and dragged him to the nursing home surprise. Ranmo, a bit forgetful, still remembered someone brought a kid to the temple to stay. Took them in out of pity. After seeing 3 symbols on Rui's door, Ranmo even started critiquing Cheng-Jun, showing she's still sharp as attack, claiming his drawings were totally off. Cheng-Jun guessed she mistook him for Yinhao's dad, thinking did we really find the temple and the right person, but the current riddle is still like a could Yinhao really be a killer for a purpose? But why does she always have a perfect alibi? Does her dad still live? Would she harm her son's father-in-law? It seems like she's plotting against her own daughter. Just as she was scratching her head, the coroner called with some hot news. Didn't they say they might find the killer's DNA on Rui's husband? Now, they actually found DNA from a third party. This third party shares maternal bloodlines with Yinhao, a relative. But who's Yinhao's mother? That's still a mystery, let alone her relatives. Moreover, the coroner tested the killer's DNA against Rui's. Surprise, not the same maternal lineage. Cheng-Jun figured they already had different mothers, so that's reasonable. But the coroner was baffled. The killer even had the same paternal bloodline as Rui. And she's a woman. Cheng-Jun was dumbfounded. Who could possibly have this connection with Yinhao and Rui? The coroner found it hard to explain, but that's the test result here. Have a look, Cheng-Jun. On the other side, Zenman released Yinhao due to lack of evidence and left with a resignation letter. Upon hearing Yinhao was released, Rui panicked for her life and dashed to find Brother Yan, the realtor. Brother Yan learned the detective was killed by Yinhao and was furious, feeling the cops were totally letting it slide. He said they had to rely on themselves and suggested straight-up kidnapping Yinhao a wild idea. Rui was actually here for this, thus they teamed up for an unexpected united front. Meanwhile, Cheng-Jun returned to the precinct only to find his team lounging around the office. He exploded, questioning why they weren't tracking Yinhao. Were they practicing free-range policing? Rui didn't want to be babysat either, so the team quickly added, the captain didn't send us. And there's no evidence that the killer is Yinhao. Cheng-Jun was furious. Exactly. They both could be the killer's targets. He ordered them to protect Yinhao secretly while he stayed to gather intel on the third-party killer's coming schedule. Meanwhile, Brother Yan had sent his goons to snag Yinhao, but she was ultra-defiant. The king of resistance made a comeback. She bit off the lead guy's nose and unleashed a blitzkrieg on the others. Facing Tan, she went solo and jumped to escape. She landed right on Brother Yan's car. What a coincidence. He stared at Yinhao, who was half dead, and yelled at his minions, his face like he witnessed a disaster scene. Just then, Yinhao suddenly opened her eyes and saw them. What a pleasant surprise. Brother Yan worried about his cover being blown and called Rui. Yinhao hasn't signed anything, and proof she's gone. He suggested killing her outright, but Rui refused. Brother Yan wouldn't listen. Tell Rui to ready the real estate contract ASAP. He hung up, looking broke. Looks like he really wanted to cash this out. Rui just wanted that burial plot. It's a no-go. Rui decided to call the cops for help, but discovered her car had been tampered with such bad luck. When she got out to check, that mysterious Raymond appeared again. High energy alert. Meanwhile, Cheng-Jun was still digging for info when Xiangmin limped back, looking like she had just been roasted. She had just been chewed out by her boss and couldn't wait to vent. She unleashed on Cheng-Jun. After mutual beatings, they calmed down. Xiangmin hated Cheng-Jun's sympathetic gaze most. But Cheng-Jun admitted all this mess was his fault. If he hadn't prioritized work back then, his wife wouldn't have ended up in this cycle. However, all of that belongs to the past. What we need to do now is to focus on solving the immediate problem. And please, keep in mind to subscribe to my channel as well. Tilda.